Get back, Bapa. Hey, buddy. All right, go on. Go on. Who said shit all over the place? So I want to spend some time talking about bigotry. Now, the way I'm going to use the term bigotry is in a different sense than what you normally hear about it. Usually when you're talking about bigotry or you hear about bigotry, and actually you don't really even hear the term much anymore. That's more, it was bigger probably in the 70s and 80s. Now we just go straight to racist. But unfortunately, bigotry is used in terms of racism all the time. But it's a much deeper idea. And when I'm going to be talking about it, I'm going to be talking about bigotry in a different sense. But it's important to talk about what bigotry is at its source. So I'm going to use the dictionary definition here. And, dictionary definitions, sometimes they're right on and sometimes they're not. And I shouldn't use them because sometimes I like them and sometimes I don't. And then the question can justifiably be asked, you only use the dictionary when it, favors your idea. It seems less objective than you would like to use a dictionary. But I don't think the dictionary is authoritative in the sense that it's always right. I think it's authoritative, or at least it helps us get a good idea of what something means. So this dictionary version is from dictionary.com, I think it is. I don't know. It just showed up here. Obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction, in particular, a prejudice against a person or people on the basis of their membership or of a particular group. Now, I think that that's more online with the way I'm going to talk about it. It's not just a racial thing. It can happen with ideas. It can happen with cultures. It can happen with social status. There's all kinds of reasons why a person can be a bigot or bigoted towards another person or another person's ideas. So it's a fundamental, I think, flaw of humankind, of human beings, that we all exhibit from time to time. We're all guilty of this. But in the racial sense, it looks like this. And this is from Shelby Steele's, The Content of Our Character. Shelby, bearded up right there. Shelby's brilliant. I guess it's just a mustache. He's brilliant when it comes to the topic of race and race in America. But I want to get clear. This is just one area in which bigotry becomes an issue. He says, the distillation of race, reading. The distinction of race has always been used in American life to sanction each race's pursuit of power in relationship to the other. That's what this whole critical race theory is about. The critical race theorists are just another group of racists who want to use race to have power over other people. That's all it is. Race has always been used as a tool to get power over people. In one sense, in the old sense, it is to devalue another human being by saying, I'm better because I'm of this race or this ideology. Obviously, in America's past and all over the world, it's been used to subjugate people. But even today, in this new critical race theory nonsense that goes about in our postmodern world with the intellectual idiots and Hollywood elites, the idea is, if you don't come along with my idea that other people are evil, that makes you racist. So you can't just not be a racist. You can't just go, listen, I really don't care about your race. That's not good enough. You have to choose a side. And if you don't choose the right side, that makes you evil. It's just another way to use skin color and racial identity to drive a wedge between people and build walls between people. So racism happens between people all the time. And here's something that I think is true. I think racism is always accepted in society. Racism is always an acceptable means to deal with people in every society, as long as your racism is directed towards the right group of people. So back in America's past, racism was 100% societally acceptable against black people. Now, racism is acceptable against white people. If you tear down a white person based on race or their racial attitudes or whatever it is, they voted for a particular person, not only is it 100% acceptable in American life, it's laudable. So this idea that racism is something that one people do against each other is a total lie. Everybody uses racism against each other if it benefits them and there's no societal penalty for doing it, generally speaking. So that's what Shelby Steele makes clear here in this when he says the distinction of race has always been used in American life to sanction each race's pursuit of power in relationship to the other. 100% true. The guy's brilliant. The allure of race as a human delineation is the very shallowness of the delineation it makes. Onto this shallowness, mere skin and hair, that's all it is. Men can project a false depth, a system of dismissal, of attributions, a series of malevolent or ignoble stereotypes that skin and hair lack the substance to contradict. In other words, they can project whatever they want on you just because of your race. And again, it's horrible when you do it against black folks or any group of people, but it's also horrible when you do it to white people. When people whenever one of these, critical race theorists call white people privileged, it's a racial slur. It's exactly what it is. It's an attempt to dehumanize an individual based on their skin color. So when people are going, hey, so-and-so's privileged because he's white, that's a racial slur. It's no difference from saying, hey, that guy's black, so that means he must be lazy. Same idea. It's just different skin color and different negative stereotype. But they're all bad and all evil. It's just that one happens to be sanctioned by society today. He continues, because I want to get to this point about bias. Where did I leave? Oh, here he goes. These dark projections then rationalize the pursuit of power. So when I determine that you're privileged, now I can pursue power over you because you're privileged, right? Because you voted for Trump, now it becomes right for me to pursue power over you because you voted for Trump. You voted for the wrong people. Your ideas are wrong because I can see your skin color. That means I can pursue power over you. That's critical race theory, racism. Your difference from me, and this is the key point, your difference from me makes you bad. And your badness justifies, even demands, my pursuit of power over you. That's critical race theory. That's racism of the past. You're different from me, and your difference makes you bad, and your badness means that I have to pursue power over you. That's it. That's critical race theory in a nutshell. What else is it? Oh, okay. And he goes on to say, this is the oldest formula for aggression known to man. And it is. That this underwrites every war, every battle, every street fight, whatever it is. Something different about you that I don't like. Political correctness. The cancel culture. This underwrites all of it. Something different about you that I don't like. And so I need to create a wall, a circumstance that gives me power over you because I don't like something about you. You're different from me. That's what he's talking about. At least that's what I think he's talking about. But here he brings it back to the racial distinction. It says, whenever much importance is given to race, power is the primary motive. That's what critical race theory is about. It's the pursuit of power over people by making them feel guilty about their race and things that they've never even done or played part in. That's what critical race theory is about. But I wanted to bring out the idea of bigotry not in the area of critical race theory, because that's the current way people understand bigotry or don't understand it. But bigotry can happen in the area of ideas. And so when I talk about this next topic, because I'm going to be going into this idea, and I know I was going to do it over after the last break, but I want to make sure I get this in there. Bigotry can happen with ideas. When you have the current new synthesis or the new Darwinian idea of biology, abiogenesis. Those are the same, those can be used in the same way that racial bigotry is. So, for example, if someone like Stephen Meyer comes along and promotes his intelligent design idea, what you'll find is people object to it not because the science is wrong or that his arguments aren't 100% sound, but they argue against it because that idea they don't like, because the implications would lead them to some ideas that they don't like. And so they fight it on that basis, that it's an idea that I don't like. It's different from mine. And so I'm going to attack it. Well, how do they attack it? The way we attack ideas that we don't like are things like double standards. What a double standard represents is this. I'm going to hold my idea to a certain level of scrutiny. Your idea, I'm going to take it way up there. I'm going to hold your idea to a level of scrutiny that I do not hold my own to. Right? And here's an example. Is it Iger? Who's the head of Disney? I think it's Iger is the guy. Okay? He had a problem with the laws in Georgia. I'm not going to do any film in Georgia. I have a problem with filming in Georgia. Got no problem filming in China, right next to a place where they're exterminating populations of people because of what they believe. It's the modern day version of Nazi concentration camps. Bob Iger's got no problem doing it. Is it Bob Iger? Is that the guy's name? Who's the Disney head? I think it's Iger. Mike Eisner? Something Eisner. I don't know the guy's name. But anyway, it's a double standard. It's okay to film a movie where humans are being systematically exterminated in China. Got no problem there. We'll even thank the government agencies who are responsible for it and responsible for lying about it. Got no problem there. Very low standard. Over here in Georgia, a group of people democratically came to a decision about what they're going to do in their government. Can't have it. Much different standard. Okay? That's intellectual bigotry. That's ideological bigotry. I'm not going to apply the same standards to you as I am to these folks over here. And usually it comes down to this. I'm going to lower the standard where it benefits me. And I'm going to raise the standard where it benefits me. Bigotry is ultimately a system of elevating myself to the level of God. That's really what it's about. I want to have control over other people where it benefits me. And so I'm going to lower and raise the standard based on the benefit to me as an individual. And usually it comes about this way when it comes to ideological bigotry. I have a way of understanding the world. We all do. We all have our worldviews. Okay. Bigotry takes place when, or rears its ugly head, when the way you look, the way you act, the things you believe, the ideas you have are a threat to me. And how can they become a threat? Typically it's this. They challenge the way I understand the world. And if your ideas are real or true, if your behaviors are actually the way you should behave, then that might mean that I have to change how I understand the world. I got to take a wrecking ball to my worldview, and nobody wants to do that. We're comfortable with our worldview. We will protect our worldview by any means oftentimes. And if that means, again, raising the standard for your ideas and lowering the standard for mine so I can keep your ideas out and mine in, if it means making rules and laws to keep your culture, your group out, but protects mine, whatever it is, bigotry rears its ugly head when I see the difference in you as some sort of a threat to me. And so I'm going to change the standards. I'm going to raise the bar for you, and then I'm going to lower it for me. That's the heart of bigotry. And it can happen because of race, sex, hair color, music that you listen to, the school you went to, the job you have or don't have, your economic status, whatever it is. And on both sides. It's not just top down like they want to say the oppressed and the oppressors. Oh no. The oppressed can be very bigoted, hugely bigoted. Anybody can have that evil. Doesn't matter which side you're on. Intellectual or ideological bigotry. What this means is if I'm going to examine your ideas, I have to hold them to the exact same standard that I hold my own. And if I don't, I'm engaged in bigotry. There's something about you that I don't like and that's different. I'm not trying to understand it the way I understand my own ideas. No. I'm just trying to keep your ideas out and keep mine in. It's a game I'm playing with myself because I just don't want to have to re-examine my worldview because it's precious to me. It's literally, I don't know if it's literally the worst thing. It's one of the worst things that someone can be confronted with. That the way I understand the world is wrong. Now, sometimes it can be the best thing, but it's just hard for us to come to terms with the fact that the way we've been analyzing and navigating reality turns out that it's not the correct way to do it. Or at least that there may be a better way to do it. We hate to learn about that. Intellectual bigotry. Let's hold all of our ideas to the same standard. If I'm going to call it an out over here, I'm going to call it an out over here. Same thing. Right? I'm not going to call it a strike over here and an out over here. Or a foul ball? I don't know. I don't watch baseball. All right. That's it. That's enough of me. I'm out of here.